Turning now to a leadership dispute taking place in Door County. Sheriff Tammy Sternard is responding to a vote of no confidence from her deputies, pushing back on allegations made by the Door County Deputy Sheriff's Association. Elise Noe joins us now in the newsroom with more on the sheriff's response.
Yeah, Chris, the Deputy Sheriff's Association issued its vote of no confidence on June 1st, and now Sheriff Tammy Sternard is publicly addressing the allegations. Now, the association's resolution raised concerns about Sternard's leadership, including staffing, morale, communication, and trust within the sheriff's office. Now, in her letter to the community, Sternard pushed back, saying many of the claims are based on incomplete information and lack important context. She also says she wishes some members of the association had brought their concerns to her directly, saying in part, quote, "It is unfortunate that some within the association chose not to come and talk to me about most of what's alleged in the document, but rather to air their grievances in this manner. I strongly believe the public deserves to know the facts regarding claims contained in the association's resolution." End quote. Now, the vote of no confidence is on the agenda of next week's Door County Administrative Committee meeting. That's Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. We reached out to both sides for additional comment. We have not heard back from Sheriff Sternard. The Deputies Association, through legal counsel, said it had no additional comment at this time. Back to you.